Good day, Commanders. This is Commander Licky Boom Boom. Let's go mining. First off, you want to get on the Miners tool, which is a very handy website for finding the good sell places. Since we're going to mine at borann and we're going to surface mine, we want to do it quick and dirty. So we're not necessarily going to worry too much about the highest price. We're going to worry more about the closest sell, because you want to get in, get done, get out, sell, and get back. This is strictly about making fast money. This is not about core mining. This is not about skill or doing it carefully. This is about strictly just loading up and getting done. So we're going to refresh for borann, LT diamonds. We see 84 light years, Arc Lissy, Heinlein Dock, 1,140,188 credits per ton. Now, carefully, you must look at demand, because demand has a bearing on the price. At 4,669 units, you can sell them 466 units and still get the full price. If you go over 10%, you start to drop in price. And it doesn't matter how much you sell them, it goes by how much you have on your ship. My ship is limited to 266 tons because I like to stay below. So anyways, this is where we're going to go. So we're going to jump in the game, and I'm going to show you my loadout, and then we're going to get mining. Alright, so we're at the dock. We're at Sell Hub. This is the last place I sold. So we're going to check out my loadout, and we're going to get to borann. At some point. Alright, so I've already loaded with limpets. I like to carry, out of my 256 tons of available space, I carry roughly 200-ish, 208 limpets. I find that gives you plenty of limpets to play with. You can always dump them because they are cheap. So let's have a look at my loadout. This loadout works best for me. It may not work best for everybody, but this is how I do it. I run 3 collector limpet controllers for a total of 9 limpets, 6A fuel scoop for quick fueling, 7A engineered shield generator quick charge with thermal. I find NPCs like to attack with thermal. 1 cargo rack. As I said before, I like to keep my tonnage low, because that way you get the best sell. I run a hull reinforcement and a guardian shield reinforcement. I run a 4A refinery, because that gives you 10 bins of storage. Detailed surface scanner, of course. The prospector limpet, I run a 5A, because that gives you 4 limpets at a time, and you have to run an A-rated prospector limpet to get the maximum yield from the roids. My jump range laden is 24 light years, which is plenty, because you're going to try to sell close to borann. Other than that, I run 2 mining lasers only. I run 2 frag cannons, and I run a huge beam and 2 large beams. I like to be well armed when I mine, because you never know what can happen, and sometimes the game will kick you out, and then when you relog, you're at the ring with a half a load, and the NPCs come. So I like to be ready. So what we'll do is we'll get going, and I will see you at borann. We're back. So I've just arrived at borann. I'm currently fueling off the star, and I'm now done. It is my advice that you always fuel your ship fully when you're at borann or on your way to borann, because you want to have a full tank of fuel. It's just my preference. So we're on our way here. Make sure you're in analysis mode. As for what mode I mine in, I like to mine in solo, because I don't like to deal with other people hassling me and possibly stealing my stuff or blowing my ship up. But that's my preference. If you want to mine in open, go right ahead. I play in a private group as well. So we're on our way. The 7-second rule, of course, applies. You don't want to overshoot the planet. So we're just going to approach. sometimes the glitch of the rings will occur and won't be able to see the hot spots. But if you have the DSS, the spots will still appear, but they just won't be yellow. But I haven't had this problem lately. So we're going to slow down. And we're going to ease into the ring. I do like the cutter for mining. I have the thrusters engineered to grade 5, and they work. It actually works quite well. It's not as sluggish as it would be if it was just stock. But I like the cutter because it's well armed, it's well armored, and it packs enough firepower to essentially deal with any NPC that's going to come along and try to take your stuff. So I see the triple spot. It's on the left. So we're going to find the sweet spot. This is very important. The sweet spot is where all three areas converge. You have to be in that area, or else you will not get the triple overlap effect. And I think that's a mistake a lot of people make here, is when they arrive, they go to some other part of the triple spot, and they complain, oh, the triple spot's no good, no, there's no diamonds. Well, so since I know this area, I'm going to turn off my DSS, and now you're going to see the 3 spots. 1, 2, 3. There's also a resource site. You want to stay away from that because NPCs can come from there if you're close to it. But we're not going to worry about NPCs today. So we're going to ease into the ring. And when I say ease, I mean ease. You come in slow. You come in steady. You don't come in fast because you don't want to compromise the integrity of your hull by hitting the ring too quickly. We'll speed up a little bit. So as you can see, I'm aiming my cursor right now between these 2 hot spots in that little area right there. That is where you want to land because that is the triple overlap area. So what I generally do is I drop in right here, a little bit close to the spot on the left, just a little bit. I find this yields the most rocks per roid. So we're just gonna slow down easy. We're just gonna slow down, slow down, slow down, almost to a stop. There we go. See, now we're not gonna nail it too hard. This is a bit slow. You can come in faster, but I have found sometimes you misjudge, and then you get that annoying hull integrity breached alarm, and everybody's freaking out. Don't like it. I don't want to insult my ship. There we go. So now we're here. Normally, I would engage any NPC that comes because I like to fight them, but we're going to let them go today. So first thing you do, open your contacts. You see the 3 spots. We're going to choose this spot right here. This is our reference point. You have to have a reference point. That way you're not doubling back and you're not going in circles because you don't want to hit the same rocks again because it can get confusing. It is visually overwhelming at times. So let's head towards the ring. Analysis mode, prospector. Now what's important is that NPCs can sometimes come. They don't always come, but they do come. Sometimes they are just other mining NPCs, federal ships, or pirates. And they can be anything. They can be a wing of 3, a wing of 2. They can be a single. I've had an anaconda come. But if you're just carrying limpets, they don't seem to ever attack you. And I don't know, some people have said they do attack. I've never been attacked by an NPC just carrying limpets. So here's our first customer. So this will be this is a Diamondback Explorer. Oh, it's a wing. So these are probably NPCs, pirates. Nope, they're clean. Okay, so now that they're clean, I think we're okay because these are who's going to come. They're going to mine themselves, but we're not going to bother them. So I think we're okay. So let's drop in and let's shoot a few rocks. So the method I use is that you go for the rocks that are hardly moving or not moving at all, because your limpets are fragile. If you're not careful, let's deploy. If you're not careful, the rocks will bat your limpets around, and then you're going to be using up a lot of limpets. Also, I like to drop the cargo scoop, because that limits your speed, because you don't want to be running into rocks. All right. See, that rock's turning a little bit, but it should be okay. So let's fire. Let's check our contacts. Nope, no contacts in range. Yet, if you encounter NPC pirates, you have to be absolutely sure they are off your contact panel, because sometimes they can linger. And then what they'll do is they're going to come back and they're going to hassle you. Okay, 7%, no good. So generally what I do, I try to face in the direction of my reference point. I travel in that direction, and I try to choose rocks that are either not moving like this one here, or a roid that's spinning like this one right here. See how the middle's not moving? That one's okay. So we're gonna shoot 2 of these. Now you can shoot 4 limpets at a time for prospecting, and that means the 4 limpets will exist and not fail. So our first one is engaged. Actually, our second one, sorry. That is 6%. Not worth your time. Here's our next one. 35%. That's a keeper. So we're going to move in. But right now what we're going to do is we're going to look past that rock. There's another one right there. We're going to fire a limit to that one. Wait till it fires. Okay, so that next one, that one is now ready. We're going to switch to mining lasers. We are going to approach, be nice and close, and we're going to stop. So now we're within range. So you start shooting, and you start deploying your collectors. Now I run 2 mining lasers. I run 2.5 pips to my weapons, and I find that powers insufficiently. I've tried 4 lasers. I've tried 3 lasers. I don't find a really big advantage to running any more than 2, because your limpets can only pick up so fast. I suppose if I ran 12 limpets, I might need more laser. So this I find doesn't drain your capacitor too fast. You can keep 2.5 pips to systems, which keeps your shields going, and so keeps you defended, because I'll tell you right now, when you run into stuff, you're going to hurt your ship. So here we go. Collect, collect, collect. Depleted. So because we're now collecting, we now face our next rock, which is indicated by the gray diamond. There we go, 20%. That's a good one. So what we do is you let your limpets collect. You always aim your ship. You try to rotate your ship over top of the diamonds you've blasted, because you want them to move quick. If you're off on an angle like this, they have to fly all that distance sideways. You want to kind of position your cargo hold over your limpets. On another note as well, your limpets have a limited lifespan. A-rated limpets have 12 minutes of life, and then after that, they're dead. So the timer is always counting, and the whole idea here is you don't want to waste them. You don't want to expend them too fast. So because we've now got another rock we're going to hit, what we're going to do... Alright, so we're back. I just thought I would add a few things that I forgot to add in the first video. I mean, part of the video. So when it comes to your content, you have your minerals remaining, you have your percentage of diamonds, you have your other non-important materials, and you have your material content. The material content is engineering material content. It has no bearing on the percentage of your diamond content, so you can completely ignore that. What you want to go for, my preference, I don't hit anything below 20%. I try not to. I will hit a 17 or a 15 if I get a streak of poor rocks, or if I do a high content and then I happen to be next to something and there's something not bad next to it. But as a rule, don't waste your time with low quality rocks. So now you see all my collectors are now expiring because the 12 minutes have gone by. So now you just launch all your collectors again. I try to do them all at the same time because then they expire at the same time, so it's kind of consistent. So now we've done this rock, so now it's time to move on to our next one. So we see some still rocks, we see some rotating slow rocks. You want to avoid fast, you want to avoid odd rotations and screwed up rotations, because they just bat your limpets around and they kill your limpets off. But I've been doing this for about 15 minutes so far, and I'm up to 65 tons. So I've hit some good rocks. So we will continue on. I will then pick the video back up once I'm ready to leave. Okay, so we're back. Got a little over 200 ton, 206. Our last rock is a good one, 37.95. So we're going to milk this stone, and then we're going to head out and sell. So one thing I forgot to mention before is that the content of the rocks is completely random. No specific shape, no specific size. There's no identifying features of a rock which determine its yield. And a pulse wave scanner does you no good with these. I know some people say, oh, well, you can map them, which you can, but I don't have that much time. And to map roids and come back and just mine the same old rocks, to me is a waste of time. I like some randomness. So first we're going to plot in the new location, which is Eric Lissy. We will do as follows. Now this is why I like to have a full tank of fuel, because I like to make sure I can always make it to where I'm going. So now what we'll do is we will now switch back to weapon mode, because we don't need that anymore. We're going to bring our weapons up. We're going to retract our hard points. We are now going to dump the rest of our limpets, because the less weight the better. And we don't need them anymore. And they're so cheap, who cares? Alright, so we're done. We're going to close the cargo hatch. Now I have night vision on because the ring will get dark. And when the ring gets dark, it becomes hard to see. It's so much easier to see the stones when they are illuminated. But I'll turn night vision off because it annoys me when it's on when I am flying. Alright, so we're just going to get out of the ring. Now, one other thing I forgot to mention is when we were looking at the miner's tool, you should always determine the distance of the station you're going to from your arrival star. Because the longer you're in super cruise in a system, the more chances you have of pirates interdicting you, which to me are not really a bother. They're more of an inconvenience, and they waste your time. Check our jumps. 4 jumps, very short distance. As I said, you want short cells, short distances. You don't want to make a whole ton of jumps. I don't mind making some jumps, provided the price is really high. But for what we're getting today, the shorter the jump, the better. Always steer the moment you get out of Super Cruise, because I don't have Super Cruise assist, so the chances of running into a star are very, very, very good. Plus, being a cutter, this thing's a bit of a slug. And it likes to get a bit hot, so always make sure your temperature gets down at least to 50-ish before you engage your frame shift drive, because if you don't, you run the risk of overheating. Nice thing is too, these are anarchy systems, so there shouldn't be too many NPCs, but sometimes they appear. Now, one thing I generally do whenever I enter a system is I'll bring up my panel, I'll check my contacts, and just see who's around and see who appears, because you want to see who your adversaries are, if there is any adversaries. Because my ship's a cutter, there's not many I worry about. Anacondas, perhaps. But one thing I find is that when you're in your contact panel, and if the pilot of the ship appears as if you've scanned it, pretty much guaranteed that guy's coming after you, because he scanned you, and you've somehow, his information. So be prepared to be interdicted, which, like I said, is not really a big deal. It's just more of a delay. It's more of a pain. Okay, one more jump. Like I said, we're just going to get around the star, not too close. We don't need to scoop much fuel because we filled up on the way to Borann, so that's the whole point, is you want to fill up on your way to Borann. That way you got lots of fuel for your jumps. So no contacts, as we can see. Get our temperature down, jump. Now we're going to Heinlein Dock, I believe it's called. That's going to be our destination. See, there's a contact on our screen, but that's a federal. No big deal. Also, if you happen to be jumping, even if you're interdicted, once your frame shift drive charges, you then avoid the interdiction by jumping. Okay, so 0 throttle. Check our list, and we want to find Heinlein Dock. Now, the possibility of getting interdicted can happen at any minute. Sometimes they'll tell you that you got the big load they're looking for. Sometimes they'll say something else. Other times they'll just grab you. They'll just instantly interdict you. I've jumped into a system and literally been interdicted the moment I jumped in. But like I said, I mine in solo because I have no patience and time to be bothered by other players. And that's a preference. Okay, so here's a contact. Oh, no contacts in range. Okay, well, a contact briefly appeared. Okay, oh, here we go. So what do we got? An Imperial Eagle. Possibly a pirate? Hard to say, but once you're up to speed, they have to catch you. So as they're chasing you, the likelihood of them catching you is slim. They only catch up to you when you slow down. So we see we have a Viper Mark IV, a Diamondback Scout. There's a bunch of ships here, but I don't predict any trouble. And even if there is, we'll just avoid it. Normally I'd drop out and boil them up, but I don't have time for that today. So 7-second rule, we throttle down to 75% so we don't do the noob loop. Another really good way of getting caught by an interdiction is doing the noob loop and then swinging back around. So here's where the danger comes. So right now, none of these ships, we can't identify the pilots, so it's unlikely they've scanned us. Yeah, these are all nothing. Those are not a threat. Okay, so we are approaching. Like I said, even if we get interdicted, I can avoid it very easily. Very, very easily. Even in this big ship. Oddly enough, I can avoid an interdiction when I'm not even in the blue for some odd reason. I've actually had that happen. So I'm going to throttle up a little bit just to kind of speed it up a touch. I just don't have time or patience to get interdicted by a bunch of NPCs that got nothing better to do than bother me. Yeah, there's a lot of ships here. Now, the gravity of the planet has slowed us down considerably, but the other ships have also been slowed. So now we're in our final approach. We're now to megameters. And there we go. So now we're going to disengage. I'm going to stop the video for a moment. When I come back, we're going to dock and we're going to sell. All right, so we're ready to dock. I automatically dock because I don't feel there's much need to manually dock. You can if you want to, but you know what? I find auto docking, especially in a cutter. They're big. You can easily get stuck in the mail slot, and it gives you a little break from gameplay. So then you can, go have a drink or go to the bathroom. That's what I use it for. Mind you should never leave your controls, but in this case, I'm not leaving the controls. Now, I did not check the prices before I came, and normally I don't, but sometimes I do. I have a second PC that I'll have running because I don't like to minimize my game just to, check things. I have a second PC, and I'll just have that going. I'll have the miner's tool displayed, ready to go. Oh, there's another commander here because I'm currently in actually our private server. It's a PvE server, so we don't engage in fighting and all that carrying on. It's just something we're not into. Anyways, we like the immersion of the game. We don't need to battle with each other and destroy each other for pointless reasons. Oh, so here's somebody I don't know, but like I said, not really a big deal. So let's see if the gamble paid off. There we are. 1,128,000. 242 million profit. That's a pretty good night. So of course, refuel, advanced maintenance. You want to go to repair. Always check your ship's integrity. Very important. I always keep it at 100% if I can. Limpets. You refill your limpets. Never forget your limpets. So you've seen this. This is how I do it. And I've made a lot of money. So thank you very much and have a good day. Commander Licky Boom Boom out.